Welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. My name is Jason. I'll be your host on this CFL talk show, Huskies Huddle. In this video, we preview and predict Week 7 of the 2022 CFL season. But really quickly before we get started, as always, be sure to hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It takes 1 second, makes a massive difference to this channel. Helps me reach more people on YouTube, and I, again, would really appreciate it. And with that said, let's get started. So a bit of an odd week this week with 2 games on Thursday night and 1 on Friday night, and then the game on Saturday may not happen, and we'll talk about that more in a minute. So I wanted to get this preview out a little bit earlier, so I'm going to just go through these games more quickly than I normally would. So starting with the first game, which is Montreal and Ottawa. It's a 2.5-point game in favor of Montreal when I last checked the betting line. And what I'm looking for in this game is what team will get the better quarterback play. Trevor Harris, it was really a mixed bag so far from what we've seen so far here in 2022. He needs to come and put together one of those classic crazy heater games that he has had in his career, and I think against a subpar opponent like Ottawa, that could happen. And then on the other side, Caleb Evans, Caleb Evans is trying to hold on to the starting job with Nick Arbuckle now dressing as the backup here. So could we see a quarterback switch in this one? I don't know, but it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out, and I can't see this game being anything but like a really close game. I think there's so much on the line for both teams under so much pressure to win. I think, Ottawa, obviously, with Paul LaPolice head coach, I think if they go to 0-6, it's possible that he is fired by the Redblacks after this game. So huge game here for Ottawa, and for Montreal, obviously, I don't want to drop to 1-5 after, blowing a huge lead at home last week. So I mean, just so much on the line for both of these teams. A win for either of these teams could really catapult them into, some momentum in the second half of the season. So I think this is a really important game for both teams. I'm going to stick with Montreal to win this one. They were my team to win the East at the beginning of the season, or finish first in the East. And I still think there's a lot of those good qualities there, and they've shown a lot of those good qualities. It's just they've shown several bad qualities with the penalties and the untimely mistakes that they've made so far this season. So I'm going to ride with them to win this game 24-22 over the Redblacks, and I think it's going to be a really close game that ultimately comes down to a coin flip. And then the second end of the Thursday night doubleheader tonight with the BC Lions hosting the Hamilton Tirecats. The Tirecats just played on Saturday night, have to travel all the way to the West Coast to play a late game, and typically, historically, this does not end well for East teams going out to BC to play a late game like this, and that's why I'm going to take BC to win this game. I think that, it's going to be a lot closer than people think. The bettors think it's going to be a pretty lopsided game, 8-point spread here in favor of BC, but I do think it's going to be closer than that. I expect it to be a close one-score game, and I think BC is going to put up their points, but I think Hamilton, if they stick with the ground game, I think that's going to be really crucial for them. I think that's how you're going to have to attack this BC defense. You cannot just drop back and pass 50 times and expect to win against this BC secondary. They're just too good. So I think you need to attack this defense with the running game like Winnipeg did in that matchup a couple of weeks ago. That will give them the best chance to win, I think. Even if they aren't gaining a ton of yards, keeping the defense honest and setting up the play-action pass game that got Dane Evans going last week. So I think that is going to be key for Hamilton. But ultimately, I do like BC to win this game 34-27. I just think their disadvantages working against Hamilton are going to be too much, and that's why BC will go to 4-1 on the season. Now the Friday night game between the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Edmonton Elks, with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers favored by 8 points here. And I think this is kind of a trap game here for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They could be looking ahead to the game next week, a rematch against Calgary, which is going to be an absolute thriller like we saw the game last week be. I just think that they could be overlooking the Edmonton Elks, and I mean, Winnipeg has never really overlooked anybody in the last couple of years here. They always seem like they're ready to play, but it just seems like Edmonton is a team that a lot of people just think they're going to walk over, when on paper, yes, they clearly look like they're the superior team, but I do think that Edmonton is starting to show improvement consistently week after week. I think they've looked better offensively, especially week after week, and I think Taylor Cornelius, if he can avoid the mistakes, if he can avoid the 2 or 3 interception games that he was prone to having last year as a CFL rookie, I think that they will have a chance in this game, and maybe they can win their first home game in forever. So, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in this game. And when you look back to last year, actually, the games between these two teams were a lot closer than you would have expected. So I do think that this game is going to be relatively close. But at the end of the day, I got to go with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers after picking against them the last 2 weeks. Got to pick them to win this game 28-20, cover the spread. And, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in this game. Like I said, could be the ultimate trap game. Now with the final game of the week, which is one that may not happen between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Toronto Argonauts. Supposed to be a rematch from last week's Touchdown Atlantic, but the Roughriders dealing with a pretty big COVID outbreak at this point, and it's going to be very interesting to see if this game actually ends up being played this week, if they play on like Monday or Tuesday. It feels like it's going to be postponed. It really doesn't feel like, unless Saskatchewan ends up practicing today, that they're going to be able to play that game as scheduled. So, on top of that, the Rough Riders are dealing with a lot of injuries, most notably to their quarterback, Cody Fajardo, and Duke Williams, their number one receiver, is also going to be out this game because of a suspension for throwing a helmet at Shaq Richardson, DB for the Toronto Argonauts. So, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Rough Riders if this game does end up being played. And this is how I've decided to pick this one. Because there's so much uncertainty, I think if Cody Fajardo plays, I think they're going to play pretty well at home. They're a completely different team at home, and I do think they're going to win. I don't know how healthy Cody Fajardo is, but he just says such a great record as a starting quarterback at home, especially versus the East, so I like their chances if he actually plays. But if Mason Fine has to make his first career CFL start here, or I don't know if he started the finale last year. I know he played a significant amount, but one of his first CFL starts here, I got to pick Toronto to win the game. I just think that, there'd be so much working against Saskatchewan to even, win the game at home. So, honestly, that's how I'm going to pick this week. If Fajardo plays, Saskatchewan's my pick. If Fajardo does not play and Mason Fine starts, I think I got to go with Toronto. But at the end of the day, those are just my predictions for Week 7 of the 2022 CFL season. Be sure to let me know yours down in the comment section below. And with that said, hope everyone enjoys the games this weekend, has a great day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.